Hey guys, this is Priven with another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. Sorry that I think it's been a little over a week since I actually posted a new battle report. Not really to get too much in my personal life, but I'm getting ready to move apartments, so I've been kind of doing some apartment hunting, and just that pesky thing of life has unfortunately got in the way of Warhammer. Haven't been able to get too many games in, nor make a battle report. But luckily, this was a game that I did with my friend that came down in Chicago. This is the last game that we played. So I know the past couple battle reports has been me fighting Nurgle Deamons. This is the last one, and then after that I got another battle report of me playing some vampire counts and, you know, spicing some other stuff up. But anyway, this was 2,500 points versus the Deamons. So let's take a look at what I brought. Basically brought 3 bolt throwers. Basically wanted some range on this. Maybe I could, I knew he was bringing the soul grinder, so maybe I could take out a soul grinder with it. I brought a Chosen of Assyrian on the left. He is my general. I think it is one of the best lords that the High Elves have. He's awesome. He comes standard with a 4-up ward save, because he's basically a Phoenix Guard. Whatever unit he is in, he gives them a 6-up ward save. So you place him in a group of spearmen, he has a 6-up ward save, and if you start using high magic, you can build off that, which is pretty cool. Speaking of high magic, my Archmage, the Grey Mage right there, he is a level 4. He does have the Book of Hoeth and Talisman of Preservation, so, you know, he's pretty durable. The Hideous Mage right there is a level 2 High Elf Mage with the Dispel Scroll and the Reign of Cain. And wanted to get a lot of magic missiles going on, just in case I needed them. And then my BSB is typically kitted out with what always he's kitted out with. He's got the Shield of Merowyn, which basically gives him a 4-up parry save in close combat. He's got the Reaver Bow, and he's got the Golden Crown of Command, which gives him a 2-up ward save for the first unsaved wound. Ooh, a lot of characters. Alright. Brought my Reavers, of course. Been loving them lately. They got spears and bows, and they got musicians. So, you know, I don't bring, typically I won't bring a standard bearer with them if I know that I'm going to be retreating a lot with them, because basically when you fall back, the standard bearer dies, because you are forcing yourself to retreat, which is a new rule I just learned about a couple weeks ago, and I thought that was interesting to note. So, I just brought only musicians. Got 40 spearmen to the left with the standard discipline. All 40 are painted. I'm not sure if y'all know that, but they are fully done right there. Any suggestions or tips on how I could possibly flock and base the movement tray without ruining the magnetized sheet? I am all ears. I would love some suggestions. And then to the right, my Swordmasters, of course, are being proxied as White Lions. I do not have the Banner of the World Dragon in this list. I've been using it against him, and I've been feeling so guilty. So we kind of made a deal. I won't use the Banner of the World Dragon. He's not going to use Epidemus. So I thought it was a pretty fair trade-off. So I think it's about 30 to 40 White Lions right there. Alright, so the Nurgle force right here. Those 3 little invisible movement trays, or bases. He lost one of his movement things. I'm not sure if he found it, but those are supposed to be Nurgle Rotflies. He did not put them together because he was afraid that the wings were going to break off in his trip on the way down here, and I can't blame him. So basically, they're just, you know, they're being proxied. He has the Soul Grinder, though, which hasn't done very well in our previous games. Hopefully it would do better this game. And then he's got the Beast of Nurgle. He's got a Herald on foot, and I think it was... yeah, Heralds can only be level 1s. And he basically gave him the special abilities. Whatever unit he was in, they would have a 4-up regen save, which is pretty nasty. And then the Great Unclean One, of course, he brought him back. I believe he was a level 3 in this game, and basically, you know, he had the gifts of Nurgle, or the greater gifts of gods, or whatever that the demons can get. And I think one of them was Soul Feeder, so he could regain wounds, and then I think the other one, he had like +1 toughness or something. And then the Epidemus model is being proxied as a Herald on a Palanquin. So basically, he's bringing 2 heralds. So he's bringing more magic than he's typically brought in previous games, but he's still going with the lore of Nurgle. which I tried to encourage him to go Death, and he thought about it, but he wanted to go Lore of Nurgle, so that's what he went with. And then, of course, a bunch of Plague Bearers. I think he brought 60. Yeah, there's a good picture of him right there. And he broke them up into 2 units, which, in my opinion, I'm not sure that was the correct course of action to do. It definitely gives him some more mobility. I have to worry about, you know, one of them getting into my flanks and stuff like that. But I have the same thing as well. I have 40 Spearmen, and then I got the White Lion. So I have my 2 blocks, and he has his 2 blocks. So this is the battlefield. We just did straight pitch battle. Talking a little bit about the battlefield, it definitely affected the game a lot. We had 2 rivers, 2 forests, building with the fence around the building. Arcane Ruins are on the right, so basically you can channel up to 4 dice when channeling, and if you get 3 6s, you get a miscast. The 2 pieces on the bottom left, that little pool, that's the Sorceress Portal. And basically, after you generate magic dice, in every magic phase, you have to roll on this chart that the Sorceress Portal does, and it affects the closest unit to it. I'll just go ahead and spoil this. He ended up getting that side, and I explained to him what it did, and he kind of looked at the chart. You know, it's not always a bad thing, but I think it made him really nervous, so he ended up deploying his entire army away from it. And it really messed with his deployment this game. Like I said, I think he really put too much stock into the Sorcerer Portal, and it really messed up his deployment and his battle line. And then the other thing by it is the Banestone, which gives you +1 to wound for any unit within 6 inches. So he completely stayed away from that corner. I mean, I purposely put the Sorcerer's Portal in that corner to try to keep it out of, you know, the game. And in hindsight, we could have probably just re-rolled something else, but I typically like to play with the terrain that's randomly generated. It does make stuff for interesting game mechanics. But yeah, he completely messed up his battle line to avoid it. And like so, he completely deployed it like that. So basically, his deployment right there, he's got 2 little choke points. You know, of course, he can just go right through the woods. He shouldn't care about it. But, you know, he's played 40k for a good year. And, you know, so he's kind of, he treats the terrain with a different mindset than me or you would, us being fantasy players. And so, you know, of course, he's got that river right there, so he knows what happens if he goes in it. He'll lose his steadfast if my spearman can get him in close combat. He's kind of a little bit worried about that. He has that little narrow passage for the other plague pairs to go down, and then, of course, his rot flies can just fly over the trees, and, you know, his Great Unclean One can slowly move through the trees. But for the most part, you know, we got pretty good choke point with that house being right there. And so basically I deployed like so. Put my Reavers down. I put the Grey Reavers on the far side of the left because I honestly thought he was going to deploy in the middle, kind of, and spread out, but he didn't, so that was kind of a wasted deployment. For those Reavers, I spread out my Bolt Throwers a bit. Put my Spearmen right across from the Plague Baron unit across the river. The White Lions are facing that gap right there between the house and the trees, and then of course my other Reavers are facing the Rotflies, really hoping to distract them like I did in the previous battle report, where a group of 5 Reavers were able to keep his entire block of Plague Bears busy. So I Vanguard up, move the Reavers on up. I just kind of shifted them over. I didn't even really move those Reavers. I was just trying to get them in the fight, so I kind of moved them over the full 12. And I went right to magic. Basically, I did not really move up. I was kind of letting him come to me. I had Fiery Convocation, and I got it off with Irresistible Force. So I was like, well, it's good I got that spell off, but I don't really want to go in the warp this early in the game. And I get some Plague Bearers, you know, so I get 6, you know, that's the unit with his heralds in it, and they're no longer going to have, you know, they wouldn't have regen if we were in close combat, but yeah, got 6. And of course that spell keeps on burning, so it stays on him, and I love Fiery Convocation because what it's going to do, it's going to stay in play, it's going to remain in play, and basically he's going to have to deal with it on his magic phase, and if he does it, it's going to go off again, and he's got to get a 19 with his dice to get rid of it, and it's not that big a deal, you know, well, me being a high elf player, I could easily get a 19 off, but that eats up a good portion of your dice. So if you really only have 4 or 5 dice in your magic phase, pretty much all you're going to be doing is getting rid of that spell. So I'm just going to tell everybody that he did not really have many magic phases. I honestly don't think I have any pictures of him getting any magic phases off, because either I shut him down with my Book of Hoeth, I used a Dispel Scroll, or he would use his dice to keep getting rid of the spell because I kept putting it on that unit to try to burn him. So Reavers open fire, go right to shooting, and I kill one Plague Bear. Nah, you know, he failed his ward save, so I'll take that. You know, it's better than nothing. Bolt Throwers open fire, and I'm able to put 2 wounds on the Soul Grinder right on top of turn 1. Very, very pleased with my Bolt Throwers. Normally, it takes them a while to get them to warm up, but you know, that was a good result right there. So, end of High Elf turn 1. Got Fiery Convocation off, which is basically going to force him to deal with it in his magic phase. I put 2 wounds on the Soul Grinder. Yeah, okay, yeah, I kind of did move up. And yeah, and there's the miscast. The miscast resulted in basically just hurting. I think I got 7 on the miscast table, which is basically all magic users on my side of the army take a strength 6 hit. And basically, so my mage and the Hideous Mage took a wound. So, I mean, and I guess I was okay with that. That was the best possible miscast thing I could have gotten. And I rather would not have gotten Irresistible Force, but yeah. Alright, so Chaos turn 1, his Rot Flies immediately declare charge on the Reavers. I have them flee. They literally flee back about a good 8 or 10 inches. And they are literally just like 21 inches away from the Rot Flies at that point, and it's a failed charge. He did have the option to redirect them into the White Lions, but he didn't want to do that, which I don't blame him. Granted, I don't have the Banner of the World Dragon. I do have the Flaming Banner, though. I think I forgot to mention that. So the White Lions do have the Flaming Banner, but for the most part, he kind of wants to get those Rot Flies in a flanking position or rear. I don't really know what those could have done to my White Lions, if much of anything, but yeah, he basically just opted to fail the charge. So his Nurgle magic phase, yeah, he got a lot of dice off. And then basically he used majority of it to snuff out Fiery Convocation. I think he threw like 5 or 6 at it. Then I had 5 or 6 spell dice. Having my level 4 with the Book of Hoeth, I was able to keep any other spells he tried to do down. His Soul Grinder fires, gets a hit on the Bolt Thrower. I forgot that it serves as almost like a catapult or trebuchet, and basically it does D3 wounds, and I ended up taking the Bolt Thrower off after this photo. At the moment, though, I just thought it only did like 1 wound or something. But yeah, he actually killed that Bolt Thrower in shooting, so good job for the Soul Grinder. So, end of Chaos turn 1, the Bolt Thrower will come off. It's not off on this shot, but he did kill a Bolt Thrower. He kind of moved up slowly. As you can kind of see, he's just real cautious. You know, he's new to the game. He really underestimates the terrain, and we both totally forgot about the Sorcerer's Portal as soon as the game started, so that, you know, it didn't really do anything. And then, you know, his Rot Flies didn't do anything. So, I mean, it could have been a lot better, but it could have been a lot worse for him, too. At least he got something with the Soul Grinder. So, of course, my Reavers rally, basically, and on the other side of the table, and these Reavers move across the river. Those dice right there showing basically going over to the river. None of them got 1s. And basically, I move them in a flanking position where those Plague Bearers are, and mistake on my part, I kind of shoot with them a little bit more to try to harass the Plague Bearers, but for the most part, I don't do anything else with them because there's really nothing else for me to do with them for the remainder of the game. So if you don't see any more pictures or shots of these guys, that's because, you know, the main battle was on just one side of the table and I kind of forgot about them. Basically, I moved the spears right up, so basically I'm going to force him to, if he does want to charge me, he's going to be right in the river, and he's going to lose his steadfast. Granted, the Plague Bearers could still easily rip through all those spearmen, but it's going to make him be a while, because I have so many, and I got the Standard of Discipline. Basically, you do magic. We see something in the trees. I try Soul Quench off. I get 7, he gets 6. My level 4 trumps him, so I get the spell off. And I'm able to put a wound on the Great Unclean One, just trying to slowly weaken it or wither it down before it gets to my line. So, another spell off, I do Fiery Convocation. I get 25 with my level, and +1 for high magic, and he's not able to stop it. I think he threw the remainder of his dice. He got like a 19 or 20. He got pretty close, but no, I got that spell right back on him, and basically that's going to result to keep his magic face tied up once again. But I only kill 3 plague bears with it. So it's all this spell is really doing is just kind of keeping him to throw his dice in the magic phase to get rid of it. So my BSB with the Reaver Bow shoots, and those are the hits he got. And I'm able to put another wound on the soul, on the Great. I keep calling it Soul Grinder. It's the Great Unclean One. Excuse me. Another wound on the Great Unclean One. So basically, I have 2 wounds on him from magic and shooting. It's looking pretty good. Bolt throwers shooting. Remember, one of those bolt throwers is supposed to be dead. So we shoot with the other 2. And I'm able to put another wound on the Soul Grinder, so we have 3 wounds on him so far, and you know, it's almost just like we're having an artillery fight between the Bolt Throwers and the Soul Grinders. And I'm really proud of my Bolt Throwers because that thing's toughness 7, so pretty much I need 4s to hit it, and then I need 5 or 6s to wound it, and then he has to fail his 5-up invuln. So I mean, you know, the dice are just kind of going in my favor in this fight. So basically, Chaos turn 2 immediately. You know, he charges my Reavers again with the Rot Flies. I have them flee. They fail a charge again. They were just outside of him even trying to roll. I think he actually... No, they were within range, but he just didn't get high enough, I think. And he didn't want to redirect into my White Lions. He tries to send his Great Unclean One. He had a flank charge just barely into the White Lions, and he got a 4 on the charge. No, excuse me, he got a 9 on the charge. And I think he needed like an 11 or 12. He wanted to go for it though, and so he moves forward 6 inches. He comes out of the trees. So basically, this is what I thought was interesting. Instead of engaging my spearmen, and I'm not sure if this was a mistake on his part or just beginner genius luck, he basically starts going around me, and then, you know, you see the Beast of Nurgle up there. He's going to probably send those Beasts of Nurgle into my spearmen and have the Plague Bears attack my flank. So basically, he's going to force me to do a flank charge on his Plague Bears, which my spearmen could easily get a flank charge. But then my flank would be exposed to the Beast of Nurgle. So, you know, I'm not sure if he intended this to happen, but, you know, this was, in my opinion, this was kind of smart because those Beasts of Nurgle would tear me apart unless I was able to get rid of all those Plague Bears, in one go, which I wouldn't be able to. Basically, you know, he dispelled the Fiery Convocation in his magic phase, but that was all his dice for that. I think he only got 5, and as you can see, he threw all 5 of them at it. Soul Grinder shoots at a Bolt Thrower, and that poor guy needs counseling. He keeps hurting himself. Does another wound between the Bolt Throwers and him hurting himself. The Thane's nearly dead already. So High Elf turn 3. I immediately charge in. I charge in through the gap right there. I'm really praying I can pop that unit. I got a lot of attacks. With all the high magic spells I've gotten off, I have like a 4-up or 3-up ward save. I think that's what that blue dice is for. Yeah, I got some good characters in there. It's... You know, I'm feeling really confident. Even though I don't have Banner of the World Dragon, I got the Flaming Banner. That should be able to do something. So, I basically... See, Beast of Nurgle are already moving up. I basically do a full reform and swift reform and kind of move my spearmen a little bit away. And you're probably thinking, what are you doing, Priven? What are you doing? Well, what I'm doing is that I know in my magic phase, as long as I don't get Snake Eyes or something awful, I can use Walk Between Worlds and pray I get that spell off. So it was a little bit of a gamble. And so basically kind of move those spearmen out of the way and reposition them is what I'm planning to do. So, High Elf turn 3, magic, Apotheosis. Try to psych him out and throw some of his dice away. He does, but he doesn't get enough. and I'm able to heal the Hideous Mage. Basically, he had 1 wound on him, so I healed him. And I also cast off Walk Between Worlds. He wasn't able to stop me because he threw some of his dice away to try to stop Apotheosis. And basically, poof, I buffed it up and completely shift them all the way over. And now they're facing the Great Unclean One in case he does try to charge the rear or the side of my White Lion unit. Which, you know, like I said, the entire battle's just happening in this little table. Whoever lives in that house, I definitely feel sorry for them for. It's not a good piece of real estate. Oh, the challenge right here between his Herald, not Epidemus, and I'll send my Chosen out to meet him on the challenge. And basically, I'm feeling very confident. The Chosen's, you know, he's got, oh, what did he have besides a 4-board save? I think I gave him an Ogre Blade, so he's like, no, I didn't give him the Ogre Blade. He just has a Halberd, but I did give him the other Trickster Shard, so he has to reroll a ward save. I also gave him I think the Armor of Kelendor, so he has a 2-up armor save with the Dawn Stone. So he has an armor save that's rerollable and a ward save, and he has to reroll his ward save. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident that he can win that challenge. And, of course, when this always happens to me, when I feel confident about something, the dice say no. And I fluffed all my attacks. I could re-roll them, I re-rolled them, and I literally re-rolled the exact same things. It was just nothing but 1s and 2s, and I was like, okay. And then he swings back at me with, I think all the little Nurglings get attacks, and then the Herald gets attacks as well. I was able to negate most of it, but 1 wound was able to slip through. Bit annoyed right there. Losses, though, get, 7 Plague Bearers die, he only gets 3 White Lions. I think that is also adding up combat res as well. And so basically, this is the end of High Elf turn 3. Basically, didn't pop that unit, unfortunately, but as you can see, my Spearman has literally moved 20 inches over, and they are completely out of the way of the Plague Bearers and the Beast of Nurgle, and basically it's going to take him another turn to, really 2 turns, before they're even going to able to be getting combat, really. And hopefully by that point, the battle with the White Lions will be over, and I can reform them, or they can do something, and I'm feeling real confident that the High Elves already have this game in the bag. And basically, Chaos turn 3, the Nurgle Shuffle, so basically he comes across. I don't know why he didn't march them. I think he marched them, but from the picture, it doesn't look like he really moved them that much. So I don't think he marched them. I don't know why. So it's looking like the overview right here. That house is really going to my advantage. It's covering my flank from the White Lions. As you can see, that Plague Baron unit is dying. They don't have many left. And the Soul Grinder, he's kind of giving up. Another thing I don't want. I think he got tired of shooting at my bolt throwers, and I think he kind of wanted to get in a position to fight with it, I guess. But my White Lions would tear it apart, especially in its condition now. Basically, his Rotfly, yeah, this is his charge. Picture's a little bit mixed up. So these are his charges: his Rotfly charge and the Great Unclean One charge. His Rotflies didn't make it, but his Great Unclean One definitely does with that 12. And basically, he gets right into the Spearman's face, which I thought was good. I definitely wouldn't charge the White Lions with him. He definitely needs to start picking up some points. Thankfully, the Spearmen were able to hold when he declared the charge, since that thing causes terror. So Chaos turn 3. In his magic phase, he got I think like a toughness, or it was some Nurgle spell. I honestly forgot. But he got a miscast on it, he rolled Snake Eyes, and the Great Unclean One went home. He went back to the warp, and I felt so bad for him. I think this is the first time that's ever happened to him that the wizard has been sucked into the warp. Like I said, he's only played about 8 games at this point. And we all remember what that's like when your magic user actually gets sucked into the warp for the first time. It's not a good feeling. But those are the elves that he took with him in the big explosion from the big pie template. He took 4 or 5, yeah, took 6 of them with him. So, yeah. How the battle continues over here. That's him making all those ridiculous ward saves. Really annoying. dead continue to pile up. Kills only 3 more white lines. I only killed 2 plague bearers at this point, which I was greatly annoyed about. And he puts another wound on my chosen, but I put 1 wound on him, and I'm getting slightly nervous at this point, because my chosen should have killed him. So I mean, like, everything else, you know, the Reavers, him miscasting into the warp, my magic phase, everything is going great. A player could not ask for better dice results, but when it comes to this challenge, it's like my dice won't get anything besides 1s and 2s, and he keeps making his ward saves. So we jump right into my turn. You know, I skip my movement. I think I even skipped my magic phase, because at this point I think he wanted to concede when his Great Unclean One died, but I said, well, let's just finish this challenge and do this real quick. And so we went right to combat, and I'm able to finally kill him with the Chosen. Finally get rid of the Herald on the Palanquin. And at this point, he just conceded. I can't really blame him. He possibly could have done something with those Plague Bearers and the Beast of Nurgle to my Spearmen, but for the most part, yeah, he just couldn't deal with the White Lions, even though they didn't have the Banner of the World Dragon. His Soul Grinder, I think it had like one or 2 wounds left. His army at this point was just drained, and why my army was still, you know, pretty battle ready and stuff. But overall, I mean, I had fun. You know, it was a great couple games against the Nurgle player. He definitely likes fantasy, so I know you for those of y'all that have been following these couple battle reports, but man, Priven, he's never going to play fantasy again. Now, that's not true. He actually likes fantasy better than 40k. I think he likes the challenge aspect of trying to figure the game out and, you know, trying to work with it, as well as he definitely thinks it's a better game than 40k. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't turn him off from the game. So hopefully next time he comes down for a visit, he'll have more Deamons and different variety, and we'll play. So MVP, I gotta give it the Reavers. I guess I really struggled with this one because he kind of did it a lot to himself. The Great Unclean One went up in the warp. I possibly could have given it to my Archmage, but I'm just going to give it to my Reavers simply because they were able to tie up the Rotflies for pretty much the whole game. They didn't do anything. And I honestly don't know if Rotflies are any good, but since they're monstrous insects, cavalry things, I'll give it to the Reavers. But off the record, if I could change it right now, wave my hand, and replace the MVP, I probably would give it to the Archmage, simply because, you know, Fiery Convocation and Walk Between Worlds, now that I really think about it. But, yeah, Reavers did a good job, too. So, alright, guys, that is it. I appreciate y'all watching, and like and subscribe, and please comment. Let me know if you saw any rule violations or anything like that. I've already learned a lot, especially about the Chosen, from a few of your comments and stuff like that. I appreciate everything y'all have done past couple weeks. Actually, excuse me, past couple months, and I'm going to continue to make battle reports, though they might be a little bit slower than I would have liked. But hopefully after I get moved into my new place, I'll start cranking them out at least once or 2 every week. And the Warhammer 40k League is starting up at my shop, while the Fantasy League is literally dying down. I think we have 2 weeks left in the Fantasy League, if that. And then after that, there might not be too many fantasy games until we get another league going, though I am thinking of possibly going to Southern Assault, which is a tournament here in North Carolina in Winston-Salem, which would be pretty cool. Hopefully I'll have the time to go to that, and if that's the case, we'll have at least 3 to 5 more interesting battle reports against some players and armies I haven't probably played against. Anyway, guys, appreciate watching. Thank you.